You ready for this story?
I've been learning more about setting intentions and thinking about how certain things attach themselves to me, and I don't mean Star Wars. Star Wars is more than welcome. But I mean connections that are made and connections that no longer serve me. So I've learned to say thank you and to symbolically let them go. So when I searched for symbolic ways of letting things go, a resource pointed me to the idea of walking on a path and picking up a branch or a twig, saying thank you, snapping it, and then dropping it, saying that it no longer serves me, and then moving forward without turning back. Trust me, it gets eerie. I immediately started looking for twigs, branches, etc. Couldn't find anything apart from a larger stick that was in our yard and was ready for compost. Could not snap it on my own, so I had to take a hacksaw to it. I think it's called a hacksaw. I need to get to know my tools better. Either way, split it in half, put it in compost about a week ago, didn't think anything of it, went through the whole rigmarole. Went out in public a couple days later, saw a stick on the ground, did the same thing. All right, so I felt like I had done what I intended to do, to release the past to be able to move forward, right? I go to get Jedi at the bus stop, as I normally do, and notice that there is the tree branch on the ground, snapped off from the tree, thinking it wasn't snapped off, that it was sawed off. Like, why would a tree branch snap? Walked past it, picked up Jedi from the bus stop, came back, realized, oh, it did snap. Well, that's odd. I wonder what happened. Well, I checked security cam footage. This is what happened. Yeah, effectively, it snapped on its own. Now, whether or not it was because a truck went by and snapped it, whether or not it's dead because it snapped very easily, including branches on the fallen branch, whatever. However, it still happened, and it happened only on my property, nowhere else. On its own. After I set the intention of breaking these bonds that have held me back, that have pulled me back so that I can move forward with a positive intention to have freedom to make choices for my happiness. It manifested. However it manifested. Oh, wow. So your thoughts can create your reality. It gets even more interesting when you realize, without me asking, or without even knowing, yesterday, and this is after the tree branch had snapped off in the front yard, a friend came over and gave me this book. 9 do-it-yourself energy experiments that prove your thoughts create your reality. I don't even need to read this. It'll be super quick, and I will read it, but your thoughts create your reality. It's happened to me my entire life. Can you believe it? I have not had a chance to say or show anything all week until now. We watched The Acolyte on the big screen, the new Star Wars show. I'd say it's a series, although it's going to be like, I feel, a single season, which is unfortunate because it's already off to a rip-roaring start. I'm happy. It's new Star Wars. I gotta take a bite here. That was definitely expected. The flavor. Just finding myself letting change wash over me. Accept the things that I cannot control. And guide the things that I can. Which reminds me of a shortcut I put on the desktop. My desktop, not yours. At least not that I know of. Something that I've thought about doing, and I feel like now's as good a time as any to say that I'm doing it, and I'll share the link with everybody, certainly. because I can't just say it out loud, but effectively there's a service that would make it easy, really, for you to schedule calls with me. Calls about what? I don't know. What do you want to talk about? I mean, that's the problem, is so many people want different things from me. Some people are looking for life advice. Some people looking for tech talk. Some people looking for I don't know what. There have been services like this that have existed in the past, certainly, but one specifically designed for creators. So I thought, I'm going to put it out there. I'm going to say, if you want to book time with me, chat for an hour at a time or whatever, about who knows what, anything, really, I'm going to set an hourly rate and say, I'm open to talk, because quite honestly, not doing it seems like it would be the mistake. I should have done this a while ago, like decades ago, but maybe I just had to wait for the time to be right. Time in my life, time of day, time of week. You never make decisions based out of fear or on an empty stomach. So I am not afraid, and I soon will not be hungry. If you want to talk about food, we can. I hope that the way I set it up is the right way, and I have a feeling it's going to work. How well it's going to work? Sometimes I just set the wheels in motion and then let them roll. How well it's going to work isn't really contingent on me, apart from focusing on positive outcomes, which is what I'm going to do. Here I was thinking that I'd have to swap the filament for this leaf dragon overnight, and it ran out just in the nick of time. I hardly have any left. Good to the last drop. I did it! It's done! And I think I got in the way of myself thinking, well, who would want to book time with me? And then I started to realize, as more and more people would message me across various platforms, that I've inspired thousands over the years. So why not put a finer point on it? There I am! I mean, I'm in the photo here in front of the big screen. I wasn't just superimposed over another image. This is me, like, in public. For real. Like, other people were there. Look, it's a lightsaber. Can I not prove any other way that I was there? How else would you explain me having 2 Acolyte posters, including this exclusive one, In an Age of Light, A Darkness Rises? Yeah, they gave them out for free, which is nice. Now I need to find some kind of wall space somewhere, but I don't really have any... Oh, wait, maybe up there? Lychee. You said it looks like one of those Star Wars Cantina aliens, a Bith? Should be sweet. Careful, remember, there's a pit. There's a big pit inside. No, don't even joke about swallowing the pit. Last year, Lenovo sent me a Legion laptop, and I loved it. Played Star Wars video games on it for a fair amount of time, and then stopped playing the games because I beat the games. And so I put it away. The problem is that I could not remember where I put the laptop until I stumbled across it again the other day looking for something else. So I'm happy to say that the laptop was still here. I had a feeling it was still going to be here. And I'll be playing the next Star Wars video game on it, which is coming out later this year, Star Wars Outlaws. I just have to remember where I put it away again, although I'm going to put it back to where I found it once more, because I have a feeling that's where I'll look again. In my travel case, like my wheelie, rolly thing that I still have after all these years. Still crazy. Yeah, that too. Spent all day getting the laptop up to date, at least as far as software was concerned, and it's good to see that the laptop keyboard is just as awesome as ever. It's a nice morning to sit out on the deck and just sit out on the deck. Of course, enjoying coffee too. It's kind of funny how sometimes we don't trust our intuition. And that might get us in trouble when we don't trust our gut. I've certainly made decisions for myself in the professional realm, mind you, that I could have made differently. Woulda, shoulda, coulda. I don't want to undo anything. Just want to move forward. But sometimes moving forward is hard. I mean, especially when we're talking about a career, right? And I've had quite an interesting career. People continue to ask, what do you do? I don't know. For example, up until recently, we had StreamYard as a sponsor on Twitch. And then next month, I'm basically being hired to host a webinar of sorts. And I'm hoping that turns into a very regular gig because it's a good situation. And it's something I can handle. I've been trying to figure out how to make that kind of thing the crux of what it is that I do. Basically, geek for hire, creator for hire, entrepreneur for hire. I mean, this is one of the reasons why I've waited so long to launch something wherein anybody could book calls with me, anybody could book time with me, specifically where I have expertise. And I haven't launched it until now because I've been stopping myself. And that's the number one tip that I've given to many an entrepreneur. Just do it, to borrow the phrase. The hardest part is just starting. I've stopped myself from launching something like the video chat booking idea. And honestly, I can't even tell you why. I don't think it was fear. I think it was just an abundance of caution. Actually, wait. Maybe it was a fear. Maybe it's a fear that I've put it out there and nobody cares. That's happened before when I've done things. Tried something and maybe it resonated a tiny bit, but not like what I was expecting. But keeping myself from doing something simply because I'm afraid of the outcome is unintuitive, because I'll never know the outcome unless I do it. And my entire life is just littered with so many opportunities that I took that had I had a chance to think about it, I probably wouldn't have taken or wouldn't have seen in the first place. So I need to remain open to opportunities across the board, right? And not keep myself from finding that success. Not being a coward to that voice that I have inside my head that says, what if you're not popular? What if nobody cares? What if nobody wants to talk to you like that? That was my fear. And obviously I'm over it. Rejection's not fun, but as I've mentioned in recent weeks, I've somewhat grown accustomed to rejection. And it's made me a bit stronger. I feel I have a greater degree of resilience because I'm still standing or sitting. Well, would you look at that? I can now share a link to where you can join us for one of these tech discussions if you're interested. And even if you're not in enterprise, I'm assuming you've heard of AI, generative AI, and you're wondering how it's going to impact you. You may want to tune in. You'll see me there and hear me too, because they're going to allow me to talk to Michael. No dogs allowed. Sorry, Rocket, I don't make the rules. Found them. Ooh, and they're on sale. Now, if only I could figure out how to make that Darth Vader cookie last the test of time. This Issaquah Tano is so good. I can't believe I got her done in just shy of 12 hours or so. Didn't take that long, believe it or not. Wow. Started yesterday afternoon, and here I am this morning. Just waiting for the second lightsaber blade to print. Another year, another WWDC gone by with new releases for iOS, iPadOS, macOS, watchOS, visionOS, and all the OSs. Well, at least from Apple. The whole is greater than the sum of its parts. That's something that runs through my head every time I think about an experience. And I'm not just talking about the parts that are coming together for these Play Action Toys Anakin Skywalker figures that I finished printing today as I was watching Apple's announcements. I used Polymaker filament, printed them all on a bamboo printer, live on MakerDeck, and I have 12 of them. I'm almost done assembling. So I thought I would share my thoughts on Apple's announcements. Now, I've been watching Apple announcements for a number of years, and they've been interesting. They used to be more interesting when my iPhone was a daily driver. It's no longer a daily driver. I still have an iPhone 15 Pro Max, and it's great. I use it as a webcam primarily. I've had it around for various other reasons, but that's pretty much the crux of its use case, at least today. My daily driver is an Android experience, largely because I find Android to be far more intuitive. Now, I'm saying that as a Mac user, as someone who has an iPhone connected to a Mac, as someone who loves Apple TV Plus. Now, Apple TV Plus is abstracted from any Apple product. In fact, I watch Apple TV Plus shows and movies on my Google TV with Chromecast. It's absolutely worth the money, for sure. Probably one of the best streaming services that I've used in terms of quality. It's probably one of Apple's better products in recent years, at least in my memory. The whole is greater than the sum of its parts. So Apple announced a flurry of new features, including Apple Intelligence, which, at a distance, is exactly the way that I would hope AI, if you will, those types of features to be integrated within a platform experience. I feel that Apple is doing it the right way. And that's, again, seeing it at a distance. And knowing the direction that they've been going, this isn't exactly a shock, but it is very nice to see. However, even with changes in Siri and integrating ChatGPT, I know ChatGPT. I also understand that AI can hallucinate. Siri, I'm not going to say it can hallucinate. It's got other problems. But does the average user know that ChatGPT can't be trusted for all information? I'm not sure. But I have a feeling that's something that we need to be paying attention to, because most people don't know what AI means. That said, I think the features that are coming with Apple Intelligence are a step in the right direction. Math notes on an iPad? Oh my God, I'm not an iPad user anymore, but man, if I needed math stuff, that was not just a calculator app. That was mind-numbingly awesome. Like, it was completely unexpected that you could write numbers and equations and then it would solve for you, or you could erase, numbers on one part of the page and it would recalculate like it was a spreadsheet that was illustrated. It's just amazing to see what they did with that. Awesome to see that phone calls can now be recorded and transcribed natively. That's an interesting feature. It's a compelling feature. And it's not to say that third-party stuff hasn't been available. That's not the reason this is awesome. It's awesome because it's all integrated. It's all native. So the average user is going to be able to use it. That's compelling. Another compelling feature, something called iPhone mirroring. Now, I've got an iPhone. I'm using it as a webcam, but there are times that I want to use the phone without actually having to disconnect it, or maybe it was in another room. With iPhone mirroring, I can now connect to it and interact with the apps on the phone remotely from my Mac. Okay, that's pretty freaking cool. That's something that I may use frequently. I may be using a lot more iPhone apps. Just a nice way of browsing Instagram. Why pull up a web page? Nice way to browse, the Star Wars app, whatever it happens to be, right there on the desktop. It's easy because I've got all my other apps open and everything. That's pretty neat. So a smattering of new updates, including finally RCS compatibility, which is great for
the Android users out there, it should be very seamless for us, and probably even more seamless for those who have been using messages as a platform to connect with other people. We'll still be green bubbles, though. Not that that stresses me out. So the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. And the thing that keeps me from switching back is that I'm not in pain. There's nothing that my current Android device is doing or isn't doing that has me wanting more or wanting something different. And then certainly every time I do interact with the iPhone, and let's say, open an app to check something or make sure something's connected the right way or reboot because, there's a software update, I'm reminded of just how much I don't miss interacting with iOS, like as a phone experience, because I'm accustomed to Android, specifically Samsung's flavor of it. And Apple hasn't really caught up. I don't think iOS is a best-in-class operating system. I don't think it's a great experience. I still see micro judder throughout various apps, native or otherwise. That's been mitigated somewhat with increased speeds, but not enough. Not enough to have me going, yeah, I need this. I need to use this by default. Is there going to be one feature coming down the pike at some point that has me going back to the iPhone as a daily driver? I don't yet know. I remain open-minded, though. Studies have shown that the mere presence of one's own smartphone reduces available cognitive capacity.